Raptori, aka Pleiadian Protege, and this is my first YouTube video, so I'm going to go over a little bit about how that name came to be. So, allow me to preface this by saying that I'm extremely skeptical, and I can neither recreate these events, nor do I have any physical evidence that they even occurred. But, anyway, so about 5 years ago, I was coming down off of ecstasy, and I wasn't actually on drugs, so that's why I'm inclined to think, okay, maybe I did have some sort of, I don't know, spiritual thing that happened. Although I do understand that our brains are constantly trying to convince us that they are separate from our bodies, so to speak, which is why people do tend to have religious and spiritual experiences. But regardless, we're just going to talk about this, whether it happened, whether it didn't happen. I don't know. I go back and forth. So, 5 years ago, I was alone, like I said, coming down. My mind was open, but I wasn't actually really feeling the effects of it anymore. It was just that I was alone at this point. The party was over. And I was kind of meditating. And beings who I want to say were from the fourth dimension, possibly. And the only reason I say that is because since then, I've watched, like Carl Sagan talk about different dimensions and whatnot. So because I couldn't see them, but I could hear them, and it was probably maybe 10 of them, male and female, although they may not have had genders, that's just how I perceived it. Those were the voices that I heard talking to me in unison. So it was like they were all on the same wavelength, kind of hive mind. And, at first I was like, whoa, this isn't happening, okay. And they were like, no, it's okay, this is happening. And I was like, alright, whatever, I'm just going to roll with it. And I was like, well, first of all, like, why would you talk to me? And they were like, oh, you're not the only person that we've talked to. Apparently other people have had these experiences, and I've spoken with some of them. But basically the gist of what they told me was that we do have a soul, and that the root of it is in the third eye, and that it becomes like a portal, and you actually do travel through that when you die and you transition to the next dimension. Although you might not transition to the next dimension, in which case you repeat this life, or in this dimension, not necessarily this life, obviously, but you stay here in the third dimension. So yeah, that's what happened. And they told me that I need to go forth and spread peace and knowledge to people. Again, very skeptical. So for about maybe 2 years after this occurred, I think I didn't really do a whole lot. And like I said, this is 5 years ago. So it's been more recent that I've really been studying, learning about other dimensions, learning about more on meditation, more on philosophical and psychological type things, expansion of consciousness. And what I've come to, I guess, what I've decided from all of this is that whether it happened or not, I still think that the message is important to explain, to spread knowledge and to spread peace, and that's what I'm doing. Now, the Pleiadian part, like I said, I didn't realize exactly what they were, but I recounted this experience to my friend maybe about 6 months later, and I described like kind of how I perceived the beings that were speaking to me. Although I couldn't actually see them, I had kind of an idea of what they looked like. Maybe it was something that they were sending to me. Weird, I know. So anyway, he showed me pictures of different types of aliens. And they, to me, looked a lot like the Pleiadians, which are tall, Nordic type people. Yes. So that's what I've gone with, is Pleiadian Protege. Again, may not have happened. Who knows? Very crazy sounding, I know. And another reason why I use it is because it doesn't have a gender attached to it, much like Velociraptor doesn't, even though it does sound feminine. And since I am, I guess, somewhat of an internet personality, out there spreading the good word, I would prefer for people to see me as either a dinosaur or an alien, not so much vagina, you know, because that seems to be a thing. However, having said that, I would be stupid not to use my looks to my advantage. So although I don't necessarily want my gender represented in the title, which I use, there will still be times, obviously, when I do use that to promote my cause. So, moving forward, like I said, that's just the introduction. This is my first video, so I figured I would get that off my chest. Whatever. I probably just lost about half my followers before I even got them. Yay. Okay, so my beliefs are, I'm not going to give myself a label right now, but I would say the non-aggression principle is one thing, which is that you own your body and you own your property, which is an extension of yourself. So that's very important. Don't aggress upon people unless they aggress upon you first. Right? Seems simple enough. And, of course, privatization of, well, everything, basically. See, without government monopolies, we can actually, the market can actually offer services more effectively and more efficiently. Think about that for a minute. I will elaborate on these things in future videos. In case you have any questions, of course, feel free to contact me. Leave in the comments if you want. I will elaborate on the services in particular. I know a lot of people have questions. If you're new, I know a lot of people have questions about the roads. As far as that goes, I guess I'll cover that right now. The government takes money from you to hire companies to build the roads. And really, here's the thing about a lot of those questions that people ask is, people are like, oh, what about the poor? What about the roads? Well, the fact that you're even asking that question shows that you care. It shows that there will be people who will find a way to fix that issue. As far as the roads go, you can have your community pay for that. You can pool money together, pay for it there. It will be in businesses' best interest to have roads paved going to their business, obviously, or else they can't get business. So that's the short answer to that. Go ahead and subscribe because I will be having much more interesting videos, more so than talking about aliens. I probably won't ever talk about that again, just, you know. And with that, have a good night, and don't forget to never stop evolving.